You saved up for months. You finally drove off the lot in the car of your dreams. But what if I told you the real nightmare was under the hood? Some engines fail before they even hit 40,000 miles. That's not just bad luck. That's a manufacturing failure baked into your investment. Today, we're exposing the 15 worst engines ever put into consumer cars. They may look reliable on paper, but under pressure, they melt, crack, seize, leak, and leave your wallet crying. And engine number 3, it literally self-destructs with 0 warning signs. Number 15, Cadillac Northstar. The Cadillac Northstar was supposed to be GM's crown jewel, an American-built, high-output engine ready to rival BMW and Mercedes. But under the surface, this engine was an engineering disaster. Its biggest flaw? Aluminum threads in the engine block that strip easily. Once they're damaged, your head gasket fails, combustion gases leak, and coolant spills into your oil. You go from normal driving to catastrophic engine damage. And fast. Fixing a Northstar blown head gasket costs $2,400 to $4,500. And that's if the block isn't warped. If it is, mechanics often recommend full engine replacement. At that point, you're looking at $6,000 to $7,000. Even worse, the engine sits sideways in the bay. It's so cramped, even changing the starter or AC compressor becomes a full-day job. Labor costs skyrocket. Frustration climbs. The Northstar wasn't a V8 powerhouse. It was a time bomb in a tuxedo. Number 14. BMW N47 2.0-liter diesel, 2007 to 2012. On paper, the BMW N47 2.0-liter diesel engine sounds great. Smooth power delivery, great torque curve, and impressive fuel economy. But the reality? This engine hides one of the most catastrophic design flaws BMW's ever produced. At the heart of it all is the timing chain, a component that's supposed to last the lifetime of the engine. But in the N47, it's placed at the back of the engine, inside the firewall. So if it begins to stretch or rattle, even accessing it means removing the entire engine. Worse still, these chains are known to snap, sometimes as early as 60,000 kilometers or 37,000 miles. When will that happen? Your valves collide with your pistons, metal tears metal, your engine is totaled. BMW eventually redesigned it, but only after years of silent failures. By then, thousands had already paid $5,000 plus for rebuilds, or junked their cars completely. And that's not all. The N47 also suffers from crankshaft sensor failures, turbo oil leaks, oil filter housing cracks, swirling intake soot buildup, each problem on its own, annoying, altogether. It's a reliability nightmare wrapped in a luxury badge. The timing chain isn't just noisy, it's lethal. Number 13. Subaru 2.0 Boxer Diesel, 2008 to 2020. Subaru has always done things differently. Their Boxer engines are proof of that. So when they built their first diesel engine, the 2.0D, expectations were high. But what followed was a 12-year production run filled with headaches, soot, and sensor failures. The core issue, this engine runs hot and dirty. Unlike typical diesels, the Boxer layout means less vertical combustion, which leads to faster soot accumulation, EGR valve clogging, turbo strain at lower RPMs. And if you don't regularly drive at highway speeds, your DPF, diesel particulate filter, fills up fast. Cleaning it requires either long drives or expensive regeneration procedures. A clogged DPF costs $1,500 to $3,000 to replace. Replacing faulty injectors, $400 to $1,100 each. And those aren't rare events. This engine is notorious for fuel system sensitivity, especially with varying diesel quality across regions. Then there's the oil consumption. Drivers report losing over 1 liter per 1,000 kilometers, and that's with fresh oil. Let it slip, you'll seize the block. Subaru's first diesel was also their biggest diesel mistake. Number 12. BMW N63 V8 Twin Turbo, 2008 to 2012. Imagine spending $80,000 on a premium BMW, only to discover that the engine inside is basically a ticking oil-soaked grenade. That's the story of the BMW N63 V8, a 4.4-liter twin-turbo powerhouse introduced in 2008. It sounds amazing on paper. 408 horsepower, instant torque, found in BMW 550i, X5, X6, and 7 series. But here's the reality. This engine eats itself alive, and often before 50,000 miles. Let's start with oil consumption. Some owners report going through a quart of oil every 800 miles. That's not a leak, it's engine wear in real time. And those beautiful twin turbos? They're placed in the V of the engine, buried deep in what's called a hot V setup. Cool for responsiveness, but deadly for heat. Excessive heat bakes the turbos, cooks the valve seals, and burns the oil. This results in valve stem leaks, smoke on startup, and eventually cylinder scoring. If you're lucky, you catch it early and spend $3,000 to $5,000. If you're not, you're staring down a $10,000 full engine rebuild, and we haven't even gotten to cracked injectors, timing chain stretch, carbon buildup on direct injection valves, coolant leaks into the block. BMW did attempt a recall called the N63 Customer Care Package, but it was too little, too late. The flaws were baked into the design. This engine burns oil, gaskets, and your money, in that order. Number 11, Chevrolet 2.2-liter OHV inline 4. Next up, the Chevy 2.2-liter OHV engine, found in the Cavalier, Sunfire, and a few other economy cars from the early 2000s. Now, you'd expect a simple 4-cylinder pushrod engine to be the definition of reliability. Low power, low complexity, low risk, right? Nope. This engine became known for early head gasket failures, random misfires, and oil leaks by 30,000 miles. And it doesn't even have the excuse of being powerful or efficient. Let's break it down. Acceleration, sluggish. Sound, rattly and cheap. Reliability, almost laughable. You'd think a small engine like this would run lean and sip fuel. Instead, it delivered mediocre MPG, poor long-term wear, and high emissions. The cherry on top, upgrades are nearly impossible. The aftermarket is limited, and modding this thing is like trying to tune a lawnmower. Head gasket jobs average $1,400 to $1,800, and most mechanics will tell you it's not worth it. Sell it. By the time this engine hits 40,000 miles, if it's still running, it probably needs a full rebuild, or mercy. This isn't just a weak engine, it's a slow death by mediocrity. Number 10, Toyota 2.2 Decat Diesel 2005 to 2015. When you hear the name Toyota, what's the first thing you think of? Reliability, longevity, engineering you can trust. But even Toyota has its dark secrets, and the 2.2-liter Decat diesel engine is one of them. This engine was used in models like the Toyota Avensis, RAV4, and even the diesel Lexus is 220D between 2005 and 2015. Here's the headline. It was Toyota's attempt to produce a powerful, clean diesel with 177 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. But the results? A maintenance nightmare that fails hard and early. First problem, excessive soot production. This engine is known for dumping unburnt diesel into the exhaust, causing DPF clogs before 40,000 miles. A clogged DPF can cost $1,500 to $2,500 to clean or replace. Second issue, the head gasket design. Removing the cylinder head often scars the mating surface, making reinstallation impossible without full head replacement. That's another $2,000 to $4,000 in repairs. And that's before you even deal with injector blow-by, oil sludge, or radiator pressure spikes. Even die-hard Toyota fans admit it. The 2.2 Decat is one of the brand's rare misses. It's a Toyota, but it's no Camry. Number 9. GM 5.3-liter EcoTech 3 V8. You'd expect a brand new 2021 Chevy Suburban to be bulletproof, especially when it's rocking GM's famous 5.3-liter V8 under the hood. But this version, the EcoTech 3, has a hidden flaw so devastating that it can turn a family SUV into a garage ornament before its first birthday. The problem? Faulty lifters and weak plastic keepers. In layman's terms, the lifters, which help open and close the engine's valves, rely on tiny plastic retainers to stay in place, and those retainers, they fail, often and early. Once they do, the lifter rotates sideways, digs into the camshaft, and starts shaving off metal like a cheese grater. Those metal shavings then flow through the oil system, clogging the oil pickup screen, starving the engine of lubrication, and eventually causing total engine failure. The repair? Between $4,000 and $7,000, depending on labor and damage. The worst part, some owners have reported this failure happening twice, even after GM replaced the engine under warranty. Add in random startup ticking, cylinder deactivation problems, low oil pressure warnings, and suddenly this V8 looks a lot more like a modern mistake than a reliable workhorse. It's not old, it's just built to fail young. Number 8. Mazda 1.3-liter Reis rotary RX-8 2004 to 2012. The Mazda RX-8, a car that revs to 9,000 RPM, weighs under 3,000 pounds, and delivers pure driving bliss. But under the hood, you're dealing with the 1.3-liter Reis rotary engine, and it's one of the least reliable engines ever built. Let's start with the basics. Rotary engines don't work like piston engines. They use spinning triangular rotors, fewer parts, and compact designs. Sounds cool, right? It is, until the apex seals wear out. Apex seals are what maintain compression inside the rotor chambers. Once they go bad, and they often do under 40,000 miles, the engine loses power, misfires, and eventually refuses to start. A rebuild, at least $2,000 to $3,000, and good luck finding a mechanic who knows how to do it right. And that's just the beginning. The Reis engine consumes oil by design. Yes, it burns it like fuel. Overheats if you don't religiously monitor coolant, fails smog tests due to carbon buildup, has terrible gas mileage for a car this size, often under 18 miles per gallon. Even rotary fans agree. It's like dating a supermodel with mood swings. Exhilarating, but exhausting. Rev to 9,000, then write a $3,000 check. Number 7. Alfa Romeo 2.0, 1995 to 2010. At number 7 is a legend for all the wrong reasons. The Alfa Romeo 2.0 Twin Spark 16 was a staple of Italian performance between 1995 and 2010, powering beautiful machines like the 156 and GTV. It had character. It had a sound, and if you weren't careful, it had catastrophic failure. Let's break down why. This engine uses dual spark plugs per cylinder to improve efficiency. That means more ignition parts, more complexity, and more room for error. Its timing belt must be changed every 30,000 to 40,000 miles. No exceptions. Miss that window by even 1,000 miles, and the belt snaps, the pistons slam into the valves, and your engine is toast. Oil starvation is another killer. High RPM runs or even just steep hills can cause a drop in pressure, leading to bearing damage, especially if oil levels aren't topped off to the millimeter. Cold starts, a nightmare. The twin spark hates being rushed. Owners who rev before warm-up often hear a sharp metallic tick shortly before an expensive rebuild. Fixes include timing belt job, $1,200 plus, valve rebuild, $1,800, full engine swap, $4,000 plus. It's no wonder these engines rarely live past 40,000 miles unless you're a devoted alpha nerd with OCD-level maintenance habits. This engine demands respect, or it'll destroy itself. Number 6. Audi 2.5-liter V6 TDI, 1997 to 2005. Let's talk about Audi's early 2.5-liter V6 TDI diesel. The engine that had all the right specs, but none of the durability. It powered everything from the A4 to the A6, even some Volkswagens. And on paper, it looked like a diesel dream. Smooth torque, decent fuel economy, low-end grunt. But inside, this engine was a mechanical minefield. The root of the problem lies in its camshaft design. The cam lobes and followers wear down far too quickly, and that wear, it happens silently, until suddenly, the engine begins misfiring, knocking, or shutting down entirely. Why does it happen? Because Audi paired long oil change intervals with an overly complex head design. The camshafts sit far from optimal oil paths, and once starved, the metal-on-metal contact grinds away the lobes like sandpaper. Repair costs? Camshaft replacement equals $2,000 to $3,500, and you're not just swapping parts, you're likely removing the heads, retiming everything, and praying no other internals are affected. Other issues? Weak injectors, EGR failures, premature turbo wear, all wrapped in a car that feels premium, until the engine falls apart before 40,000 miles. Premium diesel performance, sabotaged by poor oil flow. Number 5. Toyota GRFSE 2.5-liter V6. Toyota doesn't miss often, but when it does, it hurts bad. 2.5-liter V6, found in the Lexus IS 250, is one of Toyota's most disappointing modern engines. Let's start with the marketing. It's a Lexus. It's a V6. It's direct injected. You'd expect it to last forever, but the truth, it's plagued with carbon buildup, timing chain tensioner failure, and early oil consumption. Let's break it down. The GRFSE uses direct injection, but without port injection to clean the intake valves. So over time, carbon accumulates, slowly choking performance and causing rough idle, hesitation, and check engine lights. A professional walnut blast cleaning costs $500 to $800. Then there's the timing chain tensioner. It's known to fail early, causing rattling on startup, slack in the chain, and eventually skipped timing, which can destroy the engine if left unchecked. Worse still, this V6 is known to consume oil, often a quart every 1,000 miles. Neglect the top-offs, you risk piston ring failure, cylinder scoring, and oil starvation. Early models also had cylinder head cracking, a rare but terrifying failure that carries a $4,000 plus repair bill. So what went wrong? Experts point to a high compression ratio, inconsistent part quality, and lack of dual injection. What's left is an engine that sounds like luxury, but performs like liability. It's not what you expect from Lexus, and that's the problem. Number 4. Ford 1.5-liter and 2.0-liter EcoBoost. Various models. The name EcoBoost is supposed to mean power and efficiency in one neat turbocharged package. But for Ford's 1.5-liter and 2.0-liter EcoBoost engines, it might as well mean expensive engine catastrophe. These small displacement turbo 4s power a range of Fords: Escape, Edge, Fusion, Bronco Sport, Focus. But what they also power is a growing pile of warranty claims, engine failures, and lawsuits. Let's start with the worst: coolant intrusion. In many early 2.0-liter and 1.5-liter EcoBoosts, coolant seeps past the head gasket into the combustion chamber. The result? White smoke from the exhaust, rough idling, overheating, eventually complete engine destruction. Ford's solution? Replace the engine. Cost? $6,000 to $8,000 if out of warranty. It doesn't stop there. Some 1.5-liter models suffer engine fires due to oil and fuel leaks. Others misfire chronically due to faulty injectors or stretched timing belts. Owners report random loss of power, violent RPM spikes, and harsh jerking at low speeds. Ford tried to call it normal behavior. Owners called it dangerous. The 1.5-liter EcoBoost in particular has earned the nickname the disposable engine. It boosts your repair bill. Number 3. GM 2.4-liter Quad-4 engine. Coming in at number 3 is the infamous GM 2.4-liter Quad-4, an engine that was meant to be revolutionary, but ended up becoming one of GM's biggest headaches. Introduced in the late 80s and used well into the 2000s in vehicles like the Pontiac Grand Am, Buick Skylark, and Oldsmobile Achieva, this engine was GM's shot at building a high-performance 4-cylinder with modern tech. On paper, not bad. Twin balance shafts, DOHC architecture, respectable horsepower. But in reality, this engine had too many moving parts and not enough reliability. Let's start with the big killer: head gasket failure. The Quad 4 had a chronic problem with head bolt torque specs and warping under heat, which led to coolant seepage into the cylinders and eventual engine seizure. But wait, it gets worse. The oiling system, weak. Rod knock, common. Water pump access, horrible. Then came the oil life monitor system, a feature meant to reduce oil changes. Instead, it tricked owners into waiting too long, letting old oil wreck bearings and sludge up critical parts. Once failure hit, most shops recommended a full engine replacement. Cost $3,000 to $4,000. But by then, the car itself was worth $600 tops. You didn't ignore maintenance. The engine ignored you. Number 2. Nissan QG 1.5-liter and 1.8-liter engines, 1999 to 2006. You'd think Nissan, the brand behind the legendary SR20 and VQ35, would nail something as basic as a commuter engine. But from 1999 to 2006, Nissan quietly released some of the thirstiest oil burners in modern history. We're talking about the QG15 and QG18 engines found in the Sentra, Almera, and Sunny across multiple markets. What went wrong? It starts with piston rings. They were made of a soft alloy that wore down ridiculously fast. The result? These engines could burn up to 1.5 liters of oil every 1,000 kilometers. Let that sink in. That's half your oil gone between fill-ups, and you wouldn't even know it unless you checked the dipstick weekly. Here's the worst part. The oil pan only holds about 3 liters. So if you're not checking often, you'll be running dry by the next tank of gas. Low oil plus worn rings equals to cylinder scuffing, overheating, cam wear, total engine failure, usually before 40,000 miles. Engine rebuilds cost $2,500 to $4,000. And it wasn't just 1 year. This issue persisted for nearly a decade. Some owners got warranty replacements. Most got towed. It's not just burning oil, it's burning your trust. Number 1, Isuzu 3.0 V6, and finally at number 1, the engine that checks every box for disaster and then adds a few more. The Isuzu 3.0-liter V6 diesel, found in vehicles like the Opel Monterey, Saab 9.5 diesel, Renault Velsatis, and some D-Max variants, is arguably one of the worst diesel engines ever built. It's rare, it's obscure, and it's financial poison. Here's why. The injectors are Denso high-pressure units that fail early, and replacing just one can cost $800 plus. But more often, they all go at once. The wiring harness is fragile. Constant shorts, ground failures, and dashboard chaos are common. Start the car one day and nothing works. No codes, just silence. But the final nail in the coffin, the cooling system is poorly routed. Over time, blockages build up in the radiator and water pump passages. When this happens, the engine overheats and warps the head, cooks the block, and collapses the crank bearings. Repairs can hit $5,000 plus, assuming the vehicle even survives. Worst of all, these failures don't happen slowly. They hit fast and fatally, often between 20,000 and 38,000 miles. You could be cruising along fine, then one day, your D-Max or Saab just gives up. This engine doesn't break down. It breaks up, like a bad relationship. A viewer named Aaron messaged us after buying a used 2021 Ford Bronco Sport. Great deal, clean Carfax, only 23,000 miles, still under warranty, 3 weeks in, white smoke from the tailpipe, misfiring on a cold start. The dealership said, "Oh, that's just how they run cold." 2 weeks later, total engine failure. Coolant had been leaking into cylinder 2 the entire time. The dealer replaced the engine under warranty. Then it happened again at 37,000 miles. This time, out of warranty. Aaron paid $6,500 out of pocket. He still owes $11,000 on the loan, and he said he'd never buy another Ford again. What started as the perfect SUV turned into a 2-year financial gut punch. Look, not all engines are built to last, but when manufacturers cut corners, when they ignore critical flaws, or chase profit over quality, you're the one who pays. So before you fall for marketing hype, glowing reviews, or slick dealership talk, check the engine history. Read the failure patterns. Know what you're driving into. Because it's not just about repairs, it's about peace of mind behind the wheel. Now here's your next move. Tap the next video. 10 used cars that last 300,000 miles. If you avoid one common mistake. We're diving deep into the most bulletproof rides on the market and the one mistake that kills even the toughest cars. Let us know in the comments, which of these engines shocked you the most? We read everyone and feature your stories in future videos. Don't forget to hit like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.